Madam President, I rise today to continue my tribute to Nebraska's heroes, the current generation of men and women who lost their lives defending our freedom in Iraq and Afghanistan. Each of these Nebraskans has a special story to tell. Today, I will recall the life and the service of Army Corporal Matthew Alexander, a native of Gretna, Nebraska. Matthew was drawn to the military at a young age. His parents, Mel and Monica, and brother Marshall, described him as always eager to be part of a team. He practiced martial arts, played the piano, and participated in band as a kid. As a member of the Gretna High School band, Matthew helped organize the uniforms and shoes before concerts to ensure that all the band members were ready to perform. He helped his bandmates play at their best, and his caring and compassionate nature stood out among his classmates. Matthew and his wife, Kara, they were friends since childhood. Kara described teenage Matthew as somebody who couldn't sit still, and he loved to learn. He took a keen interest in history and English classes in high school. He was also comfortable talking with anyone, and often referred to the mothers of his friends as Mom. Kara recalled how Matthew always had a grin or a smile on his face. Matthew also loved his church youth group, and he embraced his Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Matthew always wanted to be a soldier, and the 9/11 terrorist attacks further solidified his desire to defend his country. He enlisted in the Army shortly before graduating from Gretna High School in May of 2004, and he shipped off to basic training that summer. After he finished training, Matthew attended the Advanced Individual Training to become an infantry soldier. This was the first step toward his dream of joining the Army Special Forces. He was assigned to the 5th Battalion, 20th Infantry Regiment, 3rd Brigade Division, 2nd Infantry Division, and like both of his grandfathers, Corporal Alexander was stationed at Fort Lewis in Washington State. When he first arrived, his unit had just returned to Fort Lewis from a deployment. Matthew had to wait until the next deployment cycle to get overseas. He didn't like that delay. A brave soldier eager to defend his country, Matthew wanted to be in the fight. Several months later, Matthew's unit deployed to Mosul, Iraq. They assisted with the training of the Iraqi militia. From the beginning of Operation Iraqi Freedom, Mosul has been a center of battle. Fighting escalated in 2006 during the Sunni awakening. During the training of Iraqi forces and while conducting combat patrols, troops in Mosul encountered enemy attacks on a daily basis. Matthew returned home on leave in February of 2007, and he proposed to Kara. They were married 2 weeks later, on February 14th, Valentine's Day. Regarding their very short engagement, Kara simply explained that Matthew felt strongly about being married before he returned to combat. When Matthew returned to Iraq, he learned that his unit had moved to Baquba. The Battle of Baquba began in March. The enemy used hit-and-run tactics to harass Allied forces trying to control the city. During April and May, fighting intensified and casualties were high. Some liken the fierce fight to the close quarters combat of Vietnam. It was in this heat of battle that Corporal Alexander showed heroism and leadership when an IED hit a Bradley fighting vehicle on one of his missions. As Matthew's section rushed to the burning Bradley, the other vehicle commander told him to block off the southern approach and prevent the enemy from attacking up the road. While the Bradley continued to burn and take machine gun fire, Matthew acted without further instructions, and he saved lives. He set up his vehicle to prevent the attacking enemy forces from shooting accurate fire into those helping with that rescue operation. For his valor, Matthew received the Army Commendation Medal. One of the members of Matthew's platoon, Staff Sergeant Mark Grover, remembered Matthew feeling surprised to have been recommended for the honor. He said he was just doing the right thing to protect his fellow soldiers. Days before a mission on Sunday, May 6th, Matthew called home to talk to his mother, Monica, and to Kara. Tragically, this was the last time he spoke to loved ones. While on the mission, an improvised explosive device detonated near his vehicle, killing him instantly. Corporal Alexander was laid to rest on May 18th, 2007, in a rural cemetery between Gretna and Elkhorn, Nebraska. Hundreds of Patriot Guard riders led the funeral procession, and over 1,500 people filled Gretna High School to say their final goodbyes. Staff Sergeant Grover traveled to Gretna to represent the 3rd Platoon, nicknamed the Gladiators, at the service. Grover was riding in the armored vehicle just in front of the one carrying Matthew at the time of the explosion. He said the entire company loved Matthew and that he was one of the best soldiers in the platoon. To honor Matthew's life, his family established Matt's Music Memorial. The charity helps children interested in music but who can't afford an instrument, and they receive one from the local community. As Matthew's father, Mel, put it, Matthew had 2 passions, music and the military. However, you didn't need money to join the military. Corporal Matthew Alexander is truly a hero. He served with great compassion and respect. I join Nebraskans and Americans across our country in saluting his willingness, his family's sacrifice to keep us free. And I am honored to tell his story. Thank you, Madam President. I yield.